Hey y'all. So I'm back for another review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 5, episode 7. Season is going by quick. Not to mention it's not a real season. Anyway, don't call it a comeback. Okay. So we know what the main focus of this episode is, so we'll just get the little stuff out the way. All right, Stormy and Mel meet up at the beginning of the episode. Stormy is trying to tell us about her products being in Target and Walmart, I guess in Huntsville and surrounding areas. I not interested. The way she carries herself, the way she acts, not interested. So she talks about her and Destiny sit down, and then she says, "I don't have a beef, but I don't see us being friends." And she says that because Mel asked, "Oh, y'all friends now?" And the way Mel said that, it was very clear to me. It sounded like Mel was not going to be happy if she said they were friends of any sort. Now, we all watched that meeting. We know they were not friends. But my thing is, Stormy, was it really necessary for you to come back and tell Mel this? If you really want just to kind of squash it with Destiny, just stop talking about it. And damn if they don't bring up that same shit. Don't get me wrong. That stuff at Madani was messy as hell, okay? But the retelling of the story is getting old, okay? We saw it. And Stormy's retelling the same story. And one of the questions I had was when Stormy started talking about Tiffany, and I was like, are Tiffany and Mel like still friends of any sort? Because she's getting info about Tiffany. Mel is getting info about Tiffany and what she said. Destiny said about the fight at Madani. And I'm like, why are you hearing this from Stormy and Tiffany is supposed to be your friend Mel? Like it was all kinds of stupid and desperate for camera time. And that's what Stormy is to me. And I'm just not here for her. Now Mel is right. That it does seem like everybody has a beef with her on some shit that's not that serious. With the exception of Kimmy on this cast. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, it actually does kind of seem like that. Because we don't see Mel really going that hard at other people. It's like people being hurt because she's not their friend anymore. And sometimes in life, that happens. I understand that happens. That being said, I think Destiny is the only one with a legitimate beef. Okay, moving on. All right, so you get Tiffany, and she's in there. Actually, she was having a meeting about a partnership with this minority eyewear company. And I know as somebody who wears glasses and contacts that was interesting to me. I thought lots of people got lines over their nose from wearing glasses. I didn't realize that that could be so related to Black American face structures. Um, because quite frankly, that does make a lot of sense. Um, so I actually do think it's a good idea. I'm not gonna, you know, hate on that. But y'all should look up Dr. Patricia Bath, who did, God rest her soul. She died maybe 2017, 2018. I can't remember exactly. But anyway, you can still catch interviews with her on like Good Morning America. She had done the kind of research and the kind of work she was able to do around blindness and cataracts is really impressive. Okay, so that's somebody I think we should all just look into just to know your history. Then Lewis walks in and she says, "Oh, just 3 minutes before, I thought she was going to talk about the eye meeting, the eyeglass meeting." No, she's talking about getting a message from her OBGYN, and she starts talking about having a baby. And that look on Lewis's face was like probably the most serious I've ever taken him since they came on this show. He looked like, I can't believe you with this bullshit again. And it could be the bullshit in front of the camera. Now, she did say that when they got married, even though she surprised him with the wedding, so I'm still kind of confused on when this conversation happened. Tiffany and Lewis, y'all are so fake. It just, she was like, we said we didn't want to have any more kids, but I changed my mind. She was like, I own that. And that happens. That does happen. I don't know if she's serious or if this is a storyline. And, they agreed that they weren't going to have kids, and he goes, okay, fine, we'll go for it. It's after we take the IUD out, it's up to God, and that kind of thing. But I guess I'm just trying to figure out why the kind of work that she does is always being brought up. And I thought to myself, I was like, so what? So what if she's a working woman and has a baby again? I mean, like, she's obviously older, has more mothering experience or whatever. And I was like, it ain't like Lewis can't be a father. I mean, but if we're being realistic, like the bottom line is you can be like an excellent father, an excellent supportive husband. But there are things, quite frankly, when you have a baby, that only the mother can do, like breastfeed. Like there are things that require a woman's attention and time in a way it doesn't. But they said they're gonna go for it. I don't know what to think of them. They're always so disingenuous. Even her pretending like she's attracted to him, and I'm not saying that she's not. I'm just saying it comes off as, yo, you look so sexy. It just it's and then her talking about their sex life and the confessionals. The whole thing is cringy to me. I don't know. It just seems fake. I'm not saying that she couldn't be attracted to her husband. I'm saying the way she tries to let us know she's attracted to him seems fake. Okay. Now, so the comeback meeting, hell, it might as well have spent 30 minutes on preparing for the comeback meeting, watching everybody get dressed and ready. I don't even know why Mel was late because Mel's hair was done. She was practically dressed and on her way. Let me tell you something. Her and Martell are still kind of, I won't say they're in lockstep, but they still have a lot of similarities. And you can see when they're separate why they once were married. Anyway, so it's Kimmy and Maurice, Tisha and Marceau, and then Mel and Tell. Okay. Now, I got to give it to Martell and Melody. Let me tell you something. When you going into a group like that, particularly when it's dealing with your kids and two sets of people, a family, I'm going to need y'all. The fact that they could communicate on behalf of their kids before they got there without an argument, at least that we saw, I can get behind that. I appreciate that because that's one thing that y'all should be able to come together around. So everybody's talking about, well, I don't understand whose fault it was. Whenever you have a fight, whenever something gets that hostile, that aggressive, that quickly, nobody's going to remember it exactly the way it happened. Okay? And I found one of the things that stuck out to me in this episode is as they're having this dinner, once all six of them get there, they're having this dinner about what happened at Madani's opening. Destiny is not there. And granted, for the comeback group, Destiny shouldn't have been invited. But I'm going to need all of y'all to address the fact that y'all did this at someone else's event and y'all owe her a fucking apology. Period. Hard stop. Because all y'all participated in it. This was not like, oh, somebody's backyard cookout. Cut it out. Miss Wanda wasn't there. You wouldn't have got through her anyway. You wouldn't have been able to get her to say, I'm sorry and all this other stuff. And so it's them trying to, I guess, recreate the friendship that was there. Okay. Tisha claims she doesn't know how it all started. No, Tisha, maybe you don't. But I truly hope the first time that you talked to your mother about this was not on the way to this dinner. That's hard for me to believe. But that does seem like it was set up so Wanda could say that this was her story. Okay? So she calls Wanda and tells her she wants an understanding about what she may have or may not have said about their kids. So Wanda's going on about, oh, it was on Carlos King's show and she said this and that. Okay. Mel made some sort of statement about Wanda's baby father sliding in her DMs, which was basically Tisha's father. Tisha is a grown woman. That dig was clearly at Wanda, yes, and Tisha became collateral damage. I'd be a little offended and uncomfortable, although that doesn't seem like that's Tisha's issue. It just seems like she's protecting her mother. Okay, not the same thing. Wanda, you said some fucked up things. You started talking about you need to find out who your baby daddy is, and she was like, he's right here, this, that, and the other. Granted, Wanda did claim that she got that from Martell himself on that interview he did with Dr. Heavenly. Yes, Martell, maybe that's why you were so willing to let Melody handle that with Wanda, because you know that you set the foundation for that by saying you didn't know the paternity of your child. You knew you were lying when you said it. And it's fucked up because Melody is left, yes, of course, in many ways defending her child and also defending her integrity about the paternity of her child that came from her husband, who she was still married to. Period. Hard stop. And all them kids look like both of them. So just because Martell said it and was obviously angry and going through a divorce, just because he said it, Wanda, you didn't have to participate in that. You didn't have to participate in that. I know that because I know it. I also know that even if we compare the behavior of Martell's mother and Mel's mother, Mama Hull and Van, I'm sure have had disagreements. I'm sure have wanted to defend their children. And every fucking time we've seen them, we have never seen them come to blows or go hard the way Wanda has in jumping in, hell, Mel and Martell's business. Their own mothers don't get involved to that extent, and damn sure not on camera. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what the hell? That shit is so inappropriate. And how much is Mel supposed to take? Because the bottom line is, Mel didn't get on Dr. Heavenly's show and question the paternity of her own child. No, her ex-husband did that. Wanda, you did that. But Mel, as a mother, still has 4 children to look out for and protect. So I understand why she's going off. I understand why she's angry. And you trying to run up on her, that's some ghetto ass hood rat shit. And I don't respect you for it. Period. I didn't like you from the gate, but I could at least just be like, okay, whatever. That behavior is gone. And then Mel was like, well, there was stuff building up to that. Damn if they don't show clips where she calling her out of her name and everything else. Why is all this attention on Mel? Why? Because her and Tisha ain't friends no more? Wanda is a liar. Martell is too. Maurice seems like one too. Nevertheless, but I mean, that kind of dangerous line. That dangerous line that really causes tension and can really create more problems than necessary. And I don't like it. Speaking of Mel and Martell's mother, and specifically speaking of Mel's mother, Van. Miss Van comes up because Kimmy was like, well, look, if we're going to start talking about what people should and shouldn't say, how people should and should proceed with controlling their family members and the kind of role they take, then while y'all are telling Tisha to deal with Wanda, and Marceau, to his credit, was like, well, I agree with Mel. Mel had to defend her kids. I get it. He said, like he was not here for that on Wanda's bullshit, but he ain't never here for it. This may have been convenient. But I do think that he understood why Mel was upset. And I respect Marceau for really coming into that meeting like, I'm not going to let anybody pull me out of my character. At least the attempt. So while we get on Mama's, Van comes up and Kimmy's like, well, why don't y'all deal with Mark? First of all, I've reserved my comments a lot about Miss Van and whoever the fuck Mark is. 1, Mark is not on this show. 2, I do think it's disrespect. I don't know any of the social media stuff. Like I said, I don't follow these people. I follow Mel, and when Mel is on social media, Mel is basically pushing her products. That's when I see her. She's not like sitting around talking about the show. Not at least what I see. So they're like, well, Mark says some disrespectful stuff about Van, this, that, and the other. I didn't like the fact that people brought that up, like, oh, there was a sex tape somewhere. I never liked that part of it. I didn't like that shit at the reunion when they brought it up. Oh, you were driving to see him, this, that, and the other. So what? So what? She's a grown woman. And I don't like the way people try to weaponize whether it was a relationship or not. If Van says she was not in a relationship with this man, she wasn't in a relationship with that man. Women don't go around lying like that the same way men do. They don't. Damn sure not women that age. Okay? And even if that's something she didn't want people to know on television, that's her right. And the fact that everybody's like, oh, well, you had this mark, the way they're weaponizing, even if there is a relationship, like it's something a woman should be ashamed of. It's something that her having a relationship and not being married, or it's something they've geared toward her mother. And I don't like it. I find it disrespectful. I find it rude. And black men need to stop doing that, period. I don't want to hear about white men right now. I don't want to hear about everybody else. Black men need to start doing that to black women. Because it's rude, it's wrong. And Mark, like Kimmy said, got his little feelings hurt. So fucking what? Mark is not a cast member on this show, and Van doesn't go around bringing him up. And Martell, there you are in the middle of the foolishness again. You help add on the, yeah, y'all were in a relationship. It doesn't matter. It actually has shit to do with shit. And if that is the case, then Mel and Van deserve an award for classiness because they have managed to not make that shit a thing on TV when they could have really weaponized this platform to get him back because he has been disrespectful, and so have they. By they, I mean Marceau and Maurice, by allowing this narrative to continue. Mark is not on this show. We don't even know who the fuck he is, and he gonna pop up next week on somebody's park bench. Does he live there? Because he clearly got a lot of time on his hands. That shit's not cool. It's not cool. And kudos to Kimmy for having enough gumption to say something to Maurice. I'm honestly starting to feel like Kimmy's a little too good for Maurice. I'm just putting that out there. And I'm sure she loves him and everything, but yeah, keep it to myself. So at the end, basically they're just like the takeaways. Martell is talking. He's like, well, just stay off social media, and in order to keep my kids away from the foolishness and the drama, I want them to be okay. And I'm like, well, Martell, I agree. But Martell, stop putting things on social media that can lead to foolishness and can be hurtful to your kids. Because you've also played a role in this. And you and Mel could have more of a united front and could be more protective of your children if you weren't giving, I would say kibbles and bits, but like it's not even kibbles and bits. It's like whole ass meals for people to chew off of. So, like, stop. I feel bad for Mel because a mother has to do what a mother has to do. Mel is working her ass off. Mel takes care of her kids. And Mel looks damn good. She is a beautiful woman. And I'm sure there are nights where she has had to cry herself to sleep and pray to God that he would give her the strength. And I think we've seen, her blessings. But we don't know what she's gone through. And I do think at that point she was blowing up because everything is played out on TV, and we can say that's a choice, and it is. But everything is played out on TV, and I just feel like she's taking it for herself. She's taking it and taking it, fought back when she needed to fight back. But I think her kids are the thing that she is just not going to let you have. You can talk about me, you can do this, you can do that. I've tried to keep it together, but you are not going to do. And I respect that. I respect that. So that's my take on Love and Marriage Huntsville. We'll see what they're giving next week. I'm just over this fight and this same stuff. Child. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy the rest of y'all's weekend. Bye.